In examples 8, 9, and 10, we are going to look at more simple interest problems, okay? Again, we're going to go through them and discuss why they are simple interest problems. These three problems differ from examples 4, 5, 6, and 7 because I'm not telling you which formula to use here, whether it's I equals P times R times T, or whether to use A equals P times 1 plus RT, okay? We're going to discuss, which one is preferable to use in each situation, okay? And then we will solve each problem, okay? All right, in example 8, T-bills, which are treasury bills, are one of the instruments that the U.S. Treasury Department uses to finance the public debt. What is the purchase price of a 26-week T-bill with a maturity value of $1,000 that earns an annual interest rate of 4.903%? Okay, so make sure you read the problem before you proceed in the video and understand what's going on, okay? Don't worry about what a T-bill is or a treasury bill. You don't have to understand the details of a treasury bill, okay? If you're going through these financial problems, you may sometimes see something like this, like a T-bill or some other name, and you're not sure what that means. You don't have to know the specifics of those types of bills or similar items, okay? So don't worry about that. Okay, so let's talk about first why this is simple interest. Okay, so when you read through the problem, you do not see the phrase simple interest. Okay, but you also do not see the word compounded. Since you do not see the word compounded, that means this is a simple interest problem. Okay, so now we need to decide which is better to use, I equals PRT or A equals P times 1 plus RT. Okay, so let's see here. What are we told? So we've got these T-bills, and we're trying to figure out the purchase price. Okay, we see time mentioned right here. We see maturity value, which is $1,000, and we know the interest rate. Okay, so the easiest thing probably to weed out of this thing is the interest rate. So you need to convert that to a decimal. So we're going to be dealing with an interest rate of 0.04903. Okay, so there's your interest rate. Okay, so let's see, what else? What are we looking for? Well, okay, we need to make sense of these phrases. We have purchase price and we have maturity value. So let's think about that, okay? Time, we can go ahead and put that down. So we're dealing with 26 weeks, okay? So that needs to be converted to a yearly value. So that's going to be 26 weeks out of 52 weeks in 1 year. Okay, so there's your time value, okay? And again, we need to concentrate on these purchase price and maturity value phrases, okay? So basically, let's look at maturity value, okay? So maturity value, think about the word mature, okay? If something matures, think about human development, okay? So you have a child that matures into an adult, okay? They become an adult in the future, okay? So this maturity value is hinting at a future value, which is A, okay? So the A value here is $1,000. Okay, so the question is asking what is the purchase price of the T-bill, okay, if you want it to mature to be $1,000, okay, so the purchase price, okay, so basically you buy this thing for some price and then it's going to grow or mature to a future value of $1,000. So this is actually your present value, how much you purchase it for. Okay, so that's going to be the P value, and it's going to grow to this future value. Okay, what is the purchase price? We don't know it, so that means we're looking for the P value. Okay, so considering that we know the A value, okay, that means we're going to want to use this formula. Let me put it over here in case I have to do a lot of work to solve for it. Okay, so we're going to have A equals P times 1 plus RT. Okay, so we should be able to plug everything in. Okay, we're looking for P. We know that A is 1,000. Okay, we don't know P. Use your parentheses. We've got 1 plus. You do not want to round R at all. You need to carry all these digits. So 0.04903 times 26 out of 52. Okay. All right. So we've got to solve this guy for the p-value. Okay. This is how you set it up. Now, when you look at this, okay, read it to yourself. This is 1,000 equals p times, in parentheses, 1 plus 0.04903 times 26 over 52. This quantity in parentheses, you can actually calculate it and come up with its value, okay? And that is what p is being multiplied by, okay? So let's write this out. Okay, so we've got 1,000 is equal to p times something. Let's figure out what that something is. So let me get the calculator out. Okay, we're going to type it in just like we see it. Okay, so 1 plus 0.04903 times 26 out of 52. Okay, so there you go. Okay, you cannot round this. Okay, this is what p is being multiplied by. So I'm going to go ahead and write it down. This is 1.024515. You must carry all the digits, okay? Like I've told you before, if you start rounding early, all those roundings will, kind of compound, and then your final answer will be off by a bit, okay? You don't want that, okay? So this is the number that you're multiplying p by, okay? So then if you want to solve for p, okay, you have p times this value. So to undo that, you need to divide by this number, okay? And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Okay, so we're going to divide this side by 1.024515. And then, like I said, whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other. So we're going to divide over here by that same number. Okay, and then these guys are going to end up canceling. Okay, and then it'll leave you with p. Okay, so then p will be, let's put it in the calculator. Oops. All right, we're going to get 1,000 divided by 1.024515. Okay, there's your answer. Okay, very, very long decimal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write the whole thing out just so you can see if you get the same thing I get. Like I said, practice these things on your calculator to make sure you're inputting them correctly. Okay, so again, if you know this number, you have to round it to dollars and cents so that it will make sense. No pun intended. Okay, so what you're going to do here, okay, here's your cents. Okay, so then you need to look at the number behind it. Okay, so you look at this 1. Okay, if the number behind the cents value is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you're going to leave the cents alone. If this is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you're going to round up a cent. Okay, so since this guy is a 1, we're going to stay with 7 cents instead of rounding up. Okay, so our answer, the purchase price of this T-bill is going to be $976.07. Okay, so if that's the purchase price, remember, given the interest rate and the timing, the 26-week T-bill, it matured to a value of $1,000. Okay, so that's your answer. It makes sense. It should be less than $1,000. Okay, all right, moving on to example 9. Okay, so here's example 9. All right, so it says, what annual interest rate is earned by a 33-day T-bill with a maturity value of $1,000 that sells for $996.16? And here you are going to assume a 360-day year. Okay. All right, so first of all, why is this a simple interest problem? Okay, well, You do not see the phrase simple interest, but you also do not see the word compounded. Okay, so that makes it a simple interest problem. Okay, so this is another T-bill problem. You do not have to understand what a T-bill is or does. Okay, you see the same phrase you just saw in example 8, the maturity value. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what we are looking for. So it says what annual interest rate is earned. Okay, so you are actually looking for R here. Okay, we need the interest rate. Okay, so what we did in the last problem when we talked about maturity value, okay, we said that is a future value. Okay, so this is going to be your A value, the future value. Okay, so A is equal to $1,000. Okay, so pretty similar to the last problem. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so now let's see. We know the p-value. Okay, so basically what's happening here, it sells for, this is the purchase price. So basically if this T-bill is purchased for $996.16, after the 33-day period, it will mature to a value of $1,000. So that's what's going on here. So our p-value is going to be $996.16. Okay, we need the t-value. Okay, the time period here is 33 days. Okay, so remember you have to convert that to a year value. Okay, so you're going to use 33 days out of how many days are in the year. You are told to assume a 360-day year here. So it's going to be 33 out of 360. Okay, so these are all the variables you need. Again, since you're involving an A value, a future value amount, you're going to want to use A equals P times 1 plus RT as opposed to I equals PRT here. Okay, so let's go ahead and plug everything in. We're going to get 1,000 is equal to $996.16 times 1 plus R times 33 out of 360. Okay, so this is how you would set it up. Okay, all right. Okay, so to solve this, I am going to start by distributing across the parentheses here, distributing the $996.16. Okay, so we're going to get 1,000 is equal to $996.16 plus, okay, so now you got to distribute here. Okay, so let's go ahead and compute what $996.16 times 33 over 360 is. Okay, so that's going to give us, let's see here, that's going to be 996.16 times 33 over 360. All right, so notice this is a crazy decimal. Okay, if we try to convert this to a fraction, we actually can. Or you can carry out all the decimal places. It's up to you as to how you want to do this. So let's see here. This is kind of messy. So let me go ahead and write this out. Let me see here. I will go ahead and just use, I guess, the decimal expansion here. You have to write out all the digits, okay, that your calculator is showing you. So $996.16 times this 33 over 360, that's going to be 91.314666667 times R. Okay, so now you start to isolate R. Okay, so I want to get this quantity contains the R, so I need to get it by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract off the 996.16 from both sides. Okay, so if we do that, okay, so let's go back to our calculator. Okay, so we're going to do 1,000 minus $996.16. That's going to give us $3.84. Okay, is equal to this crazy number. Okay, let me put up a boundary again. Don't want to run into my variables. Okay, again, you could have used the fraction, but again, I'm trying to show you if you do use the decimal, you need to carry everything with you. Okay, so here's this crazy decimal again. Okay, and then if you want R, R is multiplied by this decimal, you're going to have to divide both sides by this decimal. Okay, so I'm going to just put little quotation marks, meaning I'm going to multiply, here, let me do this just to make it clear. Okay, so we're going to divide both sides by this number. Okay, and put dot, 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 just because I'm not going to fit it all on here. Then I'll write it out in the next step. Okay, so your R value is going to be 384 divided by 91.314666667. Okay, so let's go ahead and type that in. Okay, so you're going to get 384 divided by, you got to be careful if you are writing all this out. Okay, so there you go. Okay, and that is going to give us this value. Okay, so the R value is 0.0420523903. Okay, so remember, as far as the answer goes, the directions said to give an interest rate as a percentage rounded to 3 places after the decimal. Okay, so let's follow those directions. Okay, so remember, this gets spit out as a decimal, so we need to move the decimal point 2 places to the right. Okay, so this is going to be 4 point, and then we need to go 3 places after, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, you need to look at the 2, okay, and say, do I round this up or keep it the same? Okay, so for a 2, it's going to stay the same. We don't need to round up, so this is going to be 4.2005%. That's your interest rate for this problem. Okay? All right. Example 10. Okay? If you paid $120 to a loan company for the use of $2,000 for 90 days, what annual rate of interest did they charge? And again, we are assuming a 360-day year. Okay? This question does not have the phrase simple interest, but it also lacks the word compounded. So it is a simple interest problem. Okay? So let's see here. 90 days, that kind of stands out to me. That's my time value. So 90 out of 360 days. Okay. What annual rate of interest did they charge? We're looking for R. Okay, so again, that could be either formula here. If you paid $120 to a loan company for the use of $2,000, okay, so you borrowed $2,000. That is the p-value. Okay. This amount right here, $120, that can't possibly be the A value, because remember, A is the amount you would pay back. So the A value should be a number bigger than $2,000 because you would pay back the $2,000 plus any interest that accrued. So this is actually the I value, the interest. Okay. Remember, interest is the amount of money that you're charged for the use of someone else's money. So that kind of is implied in that statement right here. Okay. So $120 is the interest here. Okay. So since you know information about the interest itself, it is preferable to use I equals PRT here. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and plug everything in. We're looking for R. Okay. So I is 120. So we're going to get 120 equals 2,000 times R times T, which is 90 out of 360. Okay, so we're going to solve this for R. So basically we need to get R by itself on one side. On the right, you're multiplying 3 things together. Remember, when you multiply, order does not matter. 3 times 4 is the same thing as 4 times 3. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply these two numbers together to see what they give me. And that's actually the number we are multiplying R by. Okay, so if we do that here, we're going to get 2,000 times 90 over 360. Okay, that's going to turn into 500. So the right side is going to become 500 times R. Okay, the left is still 120. Okay, All right, so now if we want r by itself, this is 500 times r, so we need to do the opposite, divide by 500. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Okay, the 500s will cancel. Okay, you're going to get r equals 120 divided by 500. Stick that in the calculator. It'll give you some decimal. Okay, so we're going to get 120 divided by 500. Okay. Oh, nice even number here. This is going to be 0.24. Okay, remember this is the decimal version of the interest rate. Okay. And then if we converted this to a percent, okay, take your decimal place, move it, your decimal point, move it 2 places to the right. Okay, so that's going to be 24% is the interest rate. Okay, that may seem like a very high interest rate to you, okay, but in everyday life, that is actually a reality, especially if you're looking at a clothing store, you're looking at a furniture store. Those kinds of places have credit cards that have an interest rate that high. So that's actually a sensible answer. All right, that's the end of section 3.1. Okay, like I said, it's the most straightforward of all the sections in this chapter. So now we will move on to compound interest in the next section. At the bottom, there's an important note, and this applies to everything in chapter 3, and I've told you this throughout what we've already talked about. Make sure that you carry all decimal places in all the calculations when you're using a calculator. This means do not round in intermediate steps. You round only your final answer, okay? Because remember, you start rounding early on, that rounding is going to get compounded, and then your answer is going to be off by a few cents or even more, okay? So you don't want to round until the very end. So that's just a little reminder there that you need to do that, and that's throughout this chapter.